campaign management because I knew SQL and I understood data, I understand segmentation. So I think so till 2010, the word analytics was not really the word analytics, but it was more that I had a love for and passion for data, and I knew SQL and I was good at coding and algorithms, and maybe set theory was my favorite subject. I got into it. And that is something, a pattern which I see, any deep tech technology. If somebody asks me what is the future of 10 years later for blockchain, nobody has an answer. Okay, these are cutting edge or bleeding edge technologies. When I say bleeding edge, it means cutting edge तो बढ़ के एक अच्छा technology बन जाएगा. Bleeding edge होगा कि it will bleed and then it might die. So you don't know when it is happening. Like say Web 3.2 was a bleeding edge, but analytics was a cutting edge. Now today it is regular bread and butter. Like for example AI. So what I would say is I never went with that कि analytics में ये possibilities है ये है. That is all consulting jargon and bullshit which happens. But if you are truly able to connect with yourself with the topic, and you are able to go with the wind. Okay, see, what happened 10 years ago was not happening 20 years ago, and then before that 10 years ago. So my dad used to program in Fortran, and he did in civil engineering. I started in this, I ended up somewhere else. So having the basics right, you know your basic one programming language. It's not that analytics is equal to Python. Okay, any new language is more simpler to write, but if you know your very basics, it can help you grow. I know it's a very boring answer I'm giving, but with every deep tech technology, that is the thing. And what happens is, if you take that risk of learning it, you get an extra edge. What means is that there is a supply and demand gap. Okay. So that time when we were into this, we didn't realize it, and suddenly everyone was trying to do analytics because we were the first movers. We got an edge, we got some extra hikes, and we were more niche. Today, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is doing analytics. Okay, maybe now today is thinking about AR, VR, या blockchain. So what happens is, if you learn skills which you love and you are able to work on some niche technology, at least you will gain a bit of edge or a premium for a short time. But soon, India has a population of 1.3 billion. You will get into it, and there will be a lot of people there. But then you need to keep on learning. So you will have to get into the next orbital shift. That's what we say. But don't think that my career is equal to analytics. Your career should be almost equal to solving business problems or using technology. Now, what technology you do doesn't matter. Okay, learning new technology is what kept me going, and I'm sure many of you might be also thinking the same way.
Okay. Uh, on that note, do you still code post 2 decades of your work?
So,
Yeah.
so what I would say, I don't code, but I love exploring tools by hands. Okay, what I mean is कि Google Analytics, I go very deep because marketing analytics I love. I go play with Excel. I play with numbers a lot. Coding per se, I don't spend too much of time. I can code if it is required, but I would definitely want to code more. But it's also a factor of time and utilization. So what I end up doing is I work with my team to define what is the end output, thinking through the logics, breaking it down, and then getting it executed. Today, the bigger problem is of architects and people who are able to envision the process. कोडिंग काफी लोग कर देंगे आपके लिए, but that's for me. But what I would say is coding and things should be something which everyone should know. The problem is now chat gpt आ गया. जैसे calculator had a problem ना, after calculator की mental maths करना लोगों ने कम कर दिया था, but people who are great at doing mental maths are able to drive valuations or able to think with much faster, evaluate problems. So coding is a skill one should be very grounded with, and I know of many of my friends in big corporates with 15-20 years of experience. उनके कोडिंग टेस्ट हो रहे हैं और उनको एलिमिनेट किया जा रहा है कि जाओ तुम मतलब आगे बढ़ो. So what I would say is you should be close to your fundamental skills, whatever profession you are. If you are a marketer, you should go and build creatives and have a knack for good creatives. So if you are in technology, you should learn new languages, possibilities, and experiment.
Yeah. So I was actually, there was a question that's coming on in the comments, and which is also the follow-up question that I had to your answer. So the question says, can you throw more light on how you took up your learning alongside your job? And some a variant of how I'm just I would like to ask you is, how do you keep on learning? Because you were saying that you try to explore a lot of things. And how do you decide upon what topics to learn? How do you build that sort of mindset? And because it's not early in your career you learn and then you sort of take off from there, but right, you have to keep on learning. And with 2 decades of work age, have you stopped learning somehow or sometime across the journey, or is the learning being consistent across the 2 decades?
Yeah. So see, let me put it this way. Okay, learning happens across and every day. Okay,
Hmm.
there is a conscious learning and then there is a subconscious learning. Now, when I say subconscious learning is uh, that you learn on the job and you learn because somebody has told you to do something and you need to do it to learn. Like you have to learn to do it and you have to do it because there is no option. That
Hmm.
is, I would say, subconscious learning or learning on the job. But that happens to everyone, I guess. Okay. But a few people also say that this is not my job or I'm not skilled for it. So at the end, what we learn in college is what we don't do. So I don't believe in that you learn much in college, but you learn by doing mostly. But what I would definitely urge is what I've developed is a habit of learning and exploring. Now, what it means is you define different types of learning areas. A lot of times people over amplify a learning area to their next job. What it means is if I learn Python, I will get a new job. If I learn marketing, I'll get a new job. If I'll do this. So learning generally people associate it with a material objective. But learning, if you kind of associate with your own personal growth without even thinking about money, it will be helpful. And one piece which I've seen is if you break down learning into different categories. Okay, one is learning of soft skills, the other is learning of technical skills, and the third is learning of management skills. So now you might think about what does it mean. So sometimes what I'm seeing, coders जो होते हैं ना वो हमेशा coding ही सीखना चाहते हैं बार बार. But and some management people will always want to do management, and leadership people will always want to do leadership. But what I've noticed as a pattern is the skill which you naturally get inclined to is what does not get you the success. The skill which is holding you from your growth might be the skill you should learn, which is really out of your comfort zone. And I'll elaborate it more. So about 10 years ago, I couldn't even talk in a public setting. Okay, I cannot stand up in a meeting, presentation, or even give a webinar or even talk smoothly. So I realized very soon that my communication skill was my biggest roadblock to grow or break barriers or break the glass ceiling. Now, what and this didn't get this real. I realized because I saw me and my colleague who were had the similar background. We were growing till a point, and then the other guy grew much faster. Used to always say कि यार वो जाके बॉस की चाटता है इसलिए वो जाके पब्लिक स्पीकिंग करता है. And I said हम तो अपना काम खुद करते हैं कि हम खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि खुदा तुझसे पूछे तेरी रजा क्या है. But that's all bullshit. Okay, unless you are building your own brand and persona, at least once you have to crack the leadership. So it is not easy. So I realized that my need for building brand and personal presence is key. For this, I spoke to few people. Books पढ़ा और बुक्स पढ़ने से कुछ होता नहीं है टू बी ऑनेस्ट. बुक्स पढ़ने से एक आइडिया मिलता है. इट इज लाइक अ कैटलिस्ट बट इट डज नॉट हेल्प यू लीप फ्रॉग अ स्किल. And then when I joined some clubs, that really helped me in a neutral zone where I was able to open up freely and talk. And then like what happens is that you cannot learn swimming by reading a book. Okay, you have to jump in water. So I signed up every speaking assignment or every speaking opportunity where I was on the command of the subject. So for me, public speaking was a big change outside my comfort zone and talk, which helped me excel in my career. Okay, now for somebody could be is and I'll take another example. I'm sorry, I'm taking long to answer this, but I think so. This is an important thing. So I had a person in my team, and this is where mobile revolution was about to happen. Okay, he was great at web analytics. Okay, digital analytics जो कहते हैं तब web analytics ही होता था because 90% people used to log in from browser. Mobile था, but mobile में Android और iOS नहीं आया था. Now, because he was doing digital analytics, he was great at it. He used to do, and then suddenly Android was launched and all. अब फिर एंड्रॉइड लॉन्च हुआ, फिर आई बॉट एंड्रॉइड फ्रॉम अ पॉकेट, 15,000 रुपए का था तब, 10-12 साल पहले, इट वाज क्वाइट एक्सपेंसिव, एंड देन स्टार्टेड एक्सप्लोरिंग, एंड देन आई रियलाइज्ड कि यार इसमें बहुत पोटेंशियल है. देन आई टोल्ड माय टीम आल्सो, यार यू वी ऑल आर इन द डिजिटल एनालिटिक्स, व्हाई डोंट यू बाय दिस. So that superb guy, he said ki, I why should I buy, this is the job of my company to give me a device so that I can learn. And over a period of time, he carried that attitude that learning is not my prerogative, it is my company's prerogative to keep me up to date. And later, after 5 years, I saw that that guy had drifted apart, the world had moved ahead, and he was like, who moved my cheese wala story ho gaya tha. So what I would say is, uh, see, when different things happening, na, being the first mover, learning new things. Today knowledge is available freely. Chat GPT है, सबने ट्राई किया, मिड जर्नी है, सब ट्राई, कुछ लोग ट्राई कर रहे हैं, कुछ लोग वो सब कर रहे हैं. तो definitely try, get a perspective, see what works. You will be aware, but don't be associated कि यार, if I learn, will I get my next pay rise, will I get my next promotion? Don't associate too much to it. Just learn for the curiosity of learning, and that is an attitude which I generally keep. I don't know if it makes sense, but that's my perspective.
Yeah, interesting. So I just want to touch upon the clubs part, because you said that when you want to improve your communication skills and the way you want to present yourself or establish, build your brand, so communication skills play a key role. So and now I just want to talk about the clubs, because we at Sparklehood are also building a networking community, right? So I see, because I'm handling the community, I see members who join the communities or who join these networking based clubs. So they wanted to extract some sort of support or help, right? And how do you see communities or networking based clubs, or how do you sort of leverage, or what is your take on that side of things? Because uh, I feel it's important to also add value when you sort of are a part of, when you are a part of community. It's not always you sort of ask for help or you take some support, right?
Yeah. So see, one of the things which another way is ki you identify part of learning, and then the another is how to learn. Now, generally, what happens is you are surrounded by your friends, your family, and your colleagues, and lot of people out there will not learn. So it's communities are a great way that you bring like-minded people, and then they feed you with some knowledge or nuggets, and then you keep learning. Now, what I have done, and this is what, say, these days I'm trying to learn what is in the area of WhatsApp marketing. So what I've done is I've joined a WhatsApp group of WhatsApp marketers, and there everyone is keeping on talking about this is what is the problem I'm facing, this is the tool, this is the type of campaign and all. So what happens is a community helps you concentrate on a topic and bring in like-minded people from the world. uh, and this really helps you scale up your contributions and learning fast. And what happens is it will always feed you with content. Even if you don't want to do it, one will face that. Sparklehood is also such a community where we are saying that okay, you have created subgroups of different interest area, and that brings in people. So to me, the good part is with platforms like WhatsApp and communities and LinkedIn and social media, you get exposed to a lot of content. The algorithm also favors what you want to do, and it scales up the impact. So community-based learning helps you have people feed what they have learned in a summary manner. So one other piece is when you learn now, what I've seen is you summarize your learning and share it with somebody. Okay, whether it is a LinkedIn post, whether it is a post or a talk, but share what you have learned. So what happens is when you try to express what you have learned, the pressure of you expressing makes you articulate that learning much better. Secondly, you contribute, and then it becomes a viral effect that somebody else will also come in and comment on it who is interested, and then you might form a community or yes. तो ये ना बहुत network effect होता है. And yeah, so learning is a big thing because the world is moving very very fast. So how to learn? Definitely learn from the best in minds. Whom to learn is from the best in minds. Figure out topics you want to learn. Don't have 20 topics in a week कि मैं आज मतलब ये learning week है, आज मैं ये भी सीख लेता हूँ, ये भी सीख लेता हूँ, ये भी सीख लेता हूँ. नहीं होगा. Figure out a topic which is like you want to sustain for 6 months or 1 year, and you make an orbital shift. Like a lot of technical people have this कि वो बिजनेस स्किल को अंडरमाइन करते हैं. बिजनेस टीम्स को होता है वो टेक्निकल स्किल्स को अंडरमाइन करते हैं. तो what I would say is people should pick up a topic, identify, take a week to identify this is an area I want to learn, and then get deep into it and get connected with the experts in the world and watch videos and do stuff.
Yeah. So we actually have a couple of questions in the chat. Aryan was asking, other than Chat GPT, what you have mentioned. I guess he was referring to one of the answers you were talking about. And Chat GPT के बाद आपने कुछ
Yeah, I guess
हाँ
it
तो
was answered. I think someone mentioned, you were mentioning mid journey, Saurabh.
okay.
But I have another question actually to ask. So I think you have brought a very good perspective, and I do agree to that fully. That technical people undermine business skills, business skill, and business people undermine the think of thinking that technical skills would be needed. So, and I think the main reason to that is people think that technical skill means only coding skills, which is wrong in my opinion. I think it is much more than that. Coding is one part of it, right? Understanding the whole tech ecosystem, like API handshakes, or like we can talk about that more. But yeah, but so I think that's great. But I wanted to understand one thing. Okay, so in general, what is your view? Like, for example, if someone started doing analytics, data science, let's say build models, did couple of stuff over there, manage the product, but what is the final destination you see for that particular person in a way? Like one track would be to continue as an analytics head, or let's say move the ladder up like a CDO type of role, right? Chief data officer kind of a role, or at some point of time, maybe become a CPO, right, which is a chief product officer kind of a role, right, or or get into the business directly, right, because the person who spent couple of months in analytics or couple of years in analytics understand the nuances of it. Like, so what is your view on that? Like, any lights you want to shed on that?
So Aryan, the matlab, fair point. See, what happens is you climb the ladder in an organization and then you will reach the top. मतलब if somebody becomes a CDO or a CPO, उसके बाद क्या next?
Yeah.
Okay, 20 साल तक तो करेगा नहीं. ठीक है. Now the thing is, how do you contribute more? So आपने एक suppose 500 crore की कंपनी में CPO बन गए. Then you can say चलो अब मैं बड़ी कंपनी के लिए CPO बनता हूँ या बनता हूँ. तो and this is a challenge which I also face. मैं analytics head बन गया. What next? So then I said कि what can I do? मतलब what do I love? Okay, do I love problem solving? So shall I get into consulting where I can solve many problems, or shall I start an analytics product company? And this is the stage I am exactly in. So I was an analytics head at Lenskart for 3 years. काफी कुछ कर लिया. मतलब बोर हो गए करते करते. Now what next? So what I said, can I do this with multiple companies? Because analytics is hardly penetrated. Only the big companies who are 2,000, 3,000 crore or even bigger are able to understand the importance of it. Now you could either take that skill and do it with many in a consulting role, or you kind of create a product company out of it. Okay, or you continue to do it in the same company and get into another role. So आपने analytics से आपने CPO CTO बन जाओ आप, या आप एक मतलब co-founder बन जाओ. So those are multiple paths which can come, but I would say don't मतलब it's not good to marry oneself to the skill. मतलब for example सीपीओ भी बन गया, वो बोर हो जाएगा बहुत जल्दी कि चलो मैं सीपीओ बन गया. तो डेफिनेटली ही वुड वांट कि अब मैं अब नेक्स्ट क्या करूं. तो समटाइम्स सी इंडिया में उतना अप्रिशिएट नहीं होता, बट बाहर यूएस वगैरह में तो होता है कि पीपल से कि मैं प्रोडक्ट का बंदा हूं, मैं लाइफ टाइम प्रोडक्ट करूंगा एंड आई डू प्रोडक्ट सो वेल दैट रियली इट ब्रेक्स द बैरियर्स. इंडिया में स्टिल वो होता है कि नंबर ऑफ इयर्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस इनटू सम कॉस्ट और सम सैलरी प्लस फैक्टर ऑफ योर एजुकेशन एंड विच टाइप ऑफ कंपनी यू आर इन. तो वो कुछ फॉर्मूला लगता है, बट
So I
finding
think the point I heard you, Saurabh. I think point was like of compounding, right? So for example, if someone have done 15 years analytics, right? While I understand there is a sky, right? At the top, right? As you are saying, कि head of analytics बन गए, then let's say आप chief analytics officer बन गए, छोटी company में बन गए, बड़ी company में बन गए, all that kind of stuff. But I am saying if someone switches also like after 15 years into a different role, that whole compounding goes for a toss, at least in an Indian setup, right? Because they don't leverage, they don't say that, okay, this 15 years was pouring to that. Now you want to
Uh,
shift into this.
but
So,
Aryanto, it depends on what you want to believe and how do you project it. Okay. So what happens is if you make that switch within the same company,
hmm,
okay, then you see analytics ana is a neutral skill, but
correct,
understanding how does the organization work. Okay, a skill like analytics or technology today is more about how the business runs. Okay, when I was working matlab, in my role at analytics, I was interacting with HR, I was interacting with supply chain, I was helping improve marketing, I was helping improve customer service. So मुझे हर function समझ में आ रहा था to the depth ki what is the issue, how does sales run, and we were able to make that impact. And it is not easy to understand it. To me, I could have taken a head of sales, head of product, head of work. Because analytics actually is the way the function runs, and it is a and so there are two parts. How do you do analytics, and how do you improve your function using analytics? These are two
correct.
questions generally people do.
Yeah,
The bigger impact happens with is how do you use analytics to improve your function. Now, for example, marketing में मतलब now these days I'm focusing on one problem statement is how to improve marketing efficiency. So why this is important is people are spending crores and crores of rupees in marketing, 20-30% of their revenue goes into marketing, but
correct.
nobody knows what is the impact. Now,
Yeah,
what will somebody tell you to know the impact is you being able to understand how the data flows. And today, marketing, others say 70% of marketing happens in measured channels, like whether it's like Google, Facebook, social media, email, SMS, WhatsApp. ये सब में आपको metrics मिलते हैं. Now, and at one point in time, for 6 months, I was the CMO also for the company. And what it helped me is to know how does the function run. And I was able to switch my hat कि ठीक है चलो CMO बन के देखते हैं क्या होता है. And today, if you see people who are very analytical are able to head the businesses. If
yeah,
you see IBM ka head is Arvind, he is a AI engineer. Sundar Pichai was a very big techie with a data mindset. He became it into it. ठीक है मतलब a lot of people who are very analytical in their approach, who are great at data, can take business roles and are taking business roles. And the more shift you will see.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so so business moving between business and this is very obvious. So I would say one needs to be prepared for it because you will hit a glass ceiling pretty soon and get bored कि यार मैं क्या ये Python और databases और ये
Yeah.
AWS versus GCP ये सब questions जल्दी खत्म हो जाएंगे.
Correct, correct. No, I agree with that perspective, Saurabh. I think that's a wonderful answer, basically, to it. Thank you for this. Actually, thank you.
Thanks, man. Great question.
Yeah. Then I guess we have a couple of questions in the chat. We'll take that up
And
first.
Amod, can you come online and ask your question? It'll be great. वो
Yes,
perspective
yes.
बनता है.
Amod, if you
Guys,
are there. Yeah.
actually, I'm in office, so
नहीं ठीक है वॉइस से पूछ लो आप. हाँ.
I'll be keep it short. What I want to understand is that I have a background of 12, 13 years into non-tech roles and into non-tech companies. Now I'm really trying to pivot myself into a tech company, maybe into a non-tech role, but into a tech company. I have appeared in few of the interviews, but the challenge I face is that they guys ask always about your tech experience or tech exposure. So how to mitigate those, or what learnings, what things can I learn so that I can manage those questions or come out of those challenges.
Amod, can you tell a little bit more why you want to pivot into a tech role or
No, I don't want to pivot into a tech role, but I want to pivot into a tech companies, probably into product companies, SaaS companies.
so you are what type of background do you have?
I have been into education industry, into sales and marketing operations.
Okay. So one thing, Amod, what generally is good is at least you should understand how does tech companies work very well. Okay, that is very key. Today, हर sector के आगे आप tech लगा सकते हो. ठीक है.
Right.
रिटेल के आगे टेक लगा सकते हो, मार्केटिंग के आगे टेक लगा सकते हो, रिटेल टेक, मार्केटिंग टेक, एड टेक. Okay. So you coming from a domain of education is a big thing. I know edtech is not in the right frame right now, but what you bring today is a very strong education domain experience, sales experience. Okay. Today sales happens more into online की funnel होता है, Zoho, CRM वगैरह tools use होता है. So what you need to identify, I'm not sure, I'm happy to have a more detailed conversation later. कि how do you get into knowing what you bring and associating the tech to it, learning on this front, and then scaling it up. Okay, so this is where I would say you should try. But EdTech is a big area. जब भी आपको मिले वो करो, but you should study what is happening in the tech world. ठीक है, ठीक है. Maybe we can proceed, Abhishek. हाँ.
Yeah, sure. There was one question from Niklesh, I guess, is with the meeting, but have you developed a process of learning new things? Basically, you were learning on how to learn.
वो हमने cover
The
कर
le-
लिया था ये.
oh yeah, okay. Uh, going next, I guess we'll talk about companies because we're talking about various industries. So you said that you worked with Tata, you worked with American Express, you worked with Lenskart as well. Uh, so would you sort of deep dive into how growth happens in, let's say, for example, you're a vice president, you have been a senior vice president at Lenskart, right? So could you sort of deep dive into any specific growth based case that members also understand in simple terms, basically? So we'll not keep it more generalistic, but to a bit of specific.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, I think so when you are in a company, see, a lot of people term growth as in कि how do you get promotions? Okay, what I tell is आज के date में ना title and promotion is like a drop down. What to me matters most is the role you perform. You could be a vice president and be an individual contributor or doing nothing, and you can be just a manager and making great impact. So always the role, what it means to me is what is the impact you are creating and how you are driving your engagement or value to the company. So that is where I put in. Now, how do you grow and how do you expand? Role is being clear in your head and then by articulating it. Okay, now I'll tell you what do people do wrong in it and what do people do right. So a lot of times na student like junior guys come to me and say कि सर मुझे एनालिटिक्स करना है फ्रॉम डिफरेंट फंक्शन. तो मैं पूछता हूँ क्यों करना है सर, बस मुझे करना है, मुझे ना बहुत जोर से लगी है एनालिटिक्स. ठीक है. नो आई रियली पिटी दीज गाइज बिकॉज इफ आई आस्क देम ठीक है चलो तुम एनालिटिक्स में तुमने क्या किया, कहते हैं सर मुझे मौका मिलेगा तो मैं कर लूंगा. मैंने कहा अगर तुम्हें मौका मिलेगा तुमने मौका क्रिएट कैसे किया? देयर आर कोर्सेज यू गो एंड डू, यू कैन डू सैम्पल प्रोजेक्ट्स, you can learn on the internet freely, so you can contribute well, but it is not easy to do. Matlab, it's easy to just say that I want to do because it is the most sexiest job on the planet, okay, or it is the most sought out of job. But go and find that why you are excited about it, what is that motivates you, and is that job you love. That is something you can do by asking 20 questions to your friends, colleagues who are in that area and learning about that role. And when you go and express, okay, now expressing your desire to know an area is very key. मतलब वो बहुत अच्छा skill है. And I have made mistakes by not asking, but once in my life I asked, and that's where I got into analytics. So I was into marketing campaign execution, and there was a VP who came in, and then I said कि sir मुझे ना I'm very much into data and I want to get into this area because I love this function. And these are the things I'm excited, and these are my ideas. I'm okay to work nights, weekends, and help you in this area, but want to contribute. I don't care about you give me a job or not, but I want to help you in this area, and in the process, I will learn. And he was super excited about it, and in next 2 weeks, I got that role. But he also had me work. कि अच्छा, he told me a task. कि अच्छा तुम मुझे ना एक email भेजो with all the ideas which you have, and then he saw it and then he said ठीक है थोड़ा perseverance है इस लड़के में. And he's still a big mentor to me. He is a very senior person in a US firm, and I'm connected for him for 15 years. So find great mentors who will help you coach and guide, express yourself, but please don't pick up a skill or this because it is very sexy, your friend is doing and that and this. But go and introspect yourself कि why do you want to do, and there is enough information there in the world to do. जैसे मुझे लेंसकार्ट में जॉब कैसे मिली थी मैं आपको बताता हूँ. तो लेंसकार्ट didn't have an head of analytics job, and one of the co-founders had posted on internet, I am looking for an analytics manager. तो मैंने कहा कि, और आई हैड अर्ज टू गेट इनटू स्टार्टअप, सो व्हाट आई डिड इज आई चेक हिज प्रोफाइल एंड आई सेंड हिम अ रिप्लाई on email कि hi Mr. X, I am a person in analytics. I would love to help Lenskart figure out the analytics part of charter. I'm not looking for a role, but I'm looking for a way to help you and in the process learn. And no, see, everyone loves free resource. ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद ही कॉल्ड मी वंस, मैंने एक प्रेजेंटेशन बना के दिखाया कि मुझे क्या लगता है, आई रिसर्च अबाउट दैट लेंस का टोटली, करते करते 1 साल लग गया, ठीक है। फिर मैंने एक दिन उनको मैसेज किया कि बॉस, आई हैव अ स्मॉल रिक्वेस्ट कि आई नो वी हैव बीन मतलब इंटरेक्टिंग, आई हैव अ डिजायर टू वर्क इन स्टार्टअप्स, वुड यू बी ओपन इनफ टू रिकमेंड मी समवेयर इन योर नेटवर्क। और उसमें 1 हफ्ते तक जवाब नहीं आया, फिर एक बार जवाब आया कि यार मैंने तुम्हारे साथ इतना टाइम स्पेंड किया है, व्हाई आई वुड रादर हायर यू एंड क्रिएट अ रोल फॉर यू, and rest is history. So what I would say is you can get a role created, but you have to see how you will add value. Till a level of 2 3 years of experience, your CV, your job, and all matters. But after a point in time, your interest, your passion, your ability to solve business problems using your skill will matter, because say a founder or a CEO will hire you to do your job best. They will not ask you a Python का question, R का question, SQL का question. They will trust you कि यार तुम्हें अपना पाथ पता है, तुम मेरी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर सकते हो क्या। फॉर एग्जाम्पल इनकी प्रॉब्लम थी ग्रोथ सॉल्व करना, कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस सॉल्व करना, तो मैंने यही बताया कि हम ग्रोथ को एनालिटिक्स से कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं, कस्टमर एक्सपीरियंस को एनालिटिक्स से कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। So that is how I approach. Sorry, a long answer to a specific question, but I hope I was able to
Yeah,
cover it.
yeah, but it's thought provoking. You added a lot of layers to it. Thank you. Are there any? I guess I've been asking a lot of questions. I would love to have some questions from the members as well who are on the call. Uh, do we have any questions from the members? Okay. I would like to ask you one of the last questions that I have. Uh, how important is, because you're talking about companies, I just want to ask how important is to join a company with great culture, importance of culture in a company, because American Express, Tata, and Lenskart have been working across organizations, and there might have been different variants of working cultures, right? So how do you see that?
So that's a great question, Abhishek. So culture is a very abused term today, okay, and it's overrated. Companies who create great cultures never talk about culture, and companies who don't have a good culture talk about culture more. Okay. But it's important for you to introspect and what do you want from this job and what you're looking for in a role. Some people want respect, matlab, and there is different things. Some people want to get into a company where they can grow very fast. Some people want to go into a company where they can learn very fast. Some people can want to go into a company where they love to interact with great sets of people. And some people want to go कि एक अच्छा relaxed environment हो, मैं इस stage of career में हूँ यहाँ पे, तो आपकी different needs होती हैं। तो Amex, Tata Group, Lenskart, I was in Mothers and Sumi, have different cultures but had very different approaches to culture, but they all had a very great purpose. Now purpose really drives the culture, and I'll try to explain what does it mean. So purpose for Amex was to provide great service, and if you talk about Amex is a very people centric company who does great work for the customers. Every customer is very happy, their NPS, everything is very high. If you see Tata Group is the most respected group. Their 60% of profits gets into charity, so they are there for helping people, and they use that as a resonance for everything. Lenskart had a culture, had a purpose to help people see the world a better place. तो उनका vision से purpose बना था, purpose से culture बना, and everything which they do gets into it. सम कंपनीज हैव अ पर्पस कि मुझे $10 बिलियन का रेवेन्यू बनाना है, $20 बिलियन का बनाना है, वो हो सकता है, बट वो ना जनरली फाउंडर्स का होता है, उसमें मुझे क्या मिलेगा मुझे नहीं पता. So companies who have a great purpose are able to do, but what you have to also go is ki, does it resonate your value system? And I'll take one other example. Is one of my friends is a teetotaler, okay, and he went into a company of distillery, मतलब दारू की कंपनी है. अब वो चले तो गया, अब उसको वो स्मेल नहीं सही जाती है, एंड उसकी मदर भी बहुत रिलीजियस है, तो वो उसका ना हमेशा आगे पीछे टसल रहा, हमेशा उसकी वैल्यू सिस्टम के साथ. And ultimately, while he was continuing the, he had to leave the company for whatever reasons. The company, his performance was not good and all. And when I asked him कि कहता यार अच्छा ही हुआ, मेरी mother was happy that I left it and now I'm having no job, but then also my family is happy, I am happy. So what happens is what your very deep intrinsic value is should be matching with the company, and then look at the elements of what you need, your learning and all. And a company with great culture will teach you and make you a better human being, and a company with a poor culture will tell you what not to do, and hopefully you don't become that and extract some good stuff from them. तो मतलब नो कंपनी वांट्स टू क्रिएट अ ग्रेट कल्चर. समटाइम्स क्या होता है, हालात ऐसे होते हैं कि यू हैव टू टेक टफ डिसीजंस एंड you don't take the decisions in the right manner, and then you screw up the culture or the review ratings publicly.
Hmm. Thanks for the answer, Saurabh. I guess more or less I'm done with my questions, but I would love to have some questions from members. Folks, if you can just unmute yourselves. I guess Subro has asked the question initially around learning. I know of the fact that few members are. One second. I guess there is
So
one more question. Yeah.
एक पॉइंट मैं ना कवर करना चाहूंगा अभिषेक. सो
Hmm.
लॉट ऑफ पीपल माइट थिंक अबाउट हाउ टू से, सपोज यू हैव जॉब ऑफर्स, ओके, 2 3 जॉब ऑफर्स, हाउ डू यू सेलेक्ट द राइट जॉब ऑफर.
Hmm.
And so, and this is a post which I also did, I'll share it with you guys. So see, when people select job offers, you know the single metric which they use to select it, you know what is that? It is
Hmm.
money.
Money, yeah.
या ठीक है कि मतलब मेरे पास 3 ऑफर हैं, 11 लाख का, एक 12 लाख का, 13 लाख का. इट्स ऑब्वियस कि 13 लाख वाली जॉब ले लो.
Hmm.
But what I've seen is, you have to really go think about it. Is that company the right place for you to go?
Hmm.
And I take an analogy of how you invest into stocks. So what
Hmm.
I mean by invest into stocks is when you invest into a stocks, maybe अलग-अलग stock अलग-अलग cost के हैं, but what you
Hmm.
think about कि what is your long-term return onto it? Here you
Hmm.
are investing your money, there you are investing time. And many times I've seen people doing big mistakes of not researching about the company deeply. जब हम फोन खरीदने जाते हैं तो हम 2 2 3 3 दिन तक 50 यूट्यूब वीडियो,
Hmm.
3 4 रिव्यू, पता नहीं क्या क्या पढ़ते हैं, प्राइस ऑप्टिमाइज सब करते हैं. बट जब हम जॉब के लिए जाते हैं ना, हम सिर्फ ओनली थिंग देखते हैं कि सबसे ज्यादा पैसे कौन दे रहा है. बट जबकि जब हम फोन खरीदते हैं तब हम सबसे सस्ता फोन नहीं खरीदते, हम एक
Hmm.
बैलेंस ऑफ फीचर्स, रेटिंग्स, रिव्यूज, ब्रांड, सर्विस, कॉस्ट सब देखते हैं. So that is the balancing act you need to do. Now, one piece which I would definitely say is if so, there are two types of companies. There are listed companies in stock market, and then there are unlisted companies in stock market. So whatever the company you are in, going in, definitely go for a company which might make money or which has a path to profitability, or the people well.
Hmm.
Many people do that job very quickly and then they realize कि अरे कंपनी तो बंद हो गई, शट डाउन हो गई, मेरी तो नौकरी चली गई, वो सब होता है. तो definitely take risk, go into different companies, but do your own research like you buy phones, and be owning that decision, not something else. But yeah, don't go only for money. Definitely money is an important thing, but look at the right things to do.
Yeah. Uh, I also remember from your bio that you have given a Sparklehood glide page that you are a mentor at T Hub. So, what uh, what is that? Because you've been working in very good established companies. What is your your take on startup ecosystem? And because you said you're mentoring, what sort of mentoring uh, has been taking place there?
Yeah. So Mentorship is of two types. Okay, one is people to mentor, and one is companies to mentor. So in T Hub is a startup ecosystem for the Telangana organization, Telangana state. People who are opening up startups. Then it's a very well reputed, structured organization. There are very few places where one does. So the reason I do mentorship is I learn from the founders and with this, and I also are able to contribute with my little wisdom I have. So I have mentored almost like 6 7 startups. These are mostly pro bono assignments and very little compensation out there.
Hmm.
So that is one thing which they also get access to people like us, and those are other piece. So एक वो type का होता है, और एक होता है career coaching and career mentorship. So some or the other time I also do that. I have pasted my top mate link if somebody is interested. And I would say definitely invest in career coaching mentorship. मतलब आप मुझसे करो किसी से भी करो, but I would say definitely do it. Today what we do is हमारी career guidance, career coaching वगैरह ना जो होती है वो हमारे दोस्त या हमारे बॉसेस और इनसे होती है, जिनका मुझे लगता है एक बहुत बायस्ड पर्सपेक्टिव और लिमिटेड पर्सपेक्टिव है, एंड दे आर नॉट प्रोफेशनल इन डूइंग सो. आई हैव डन अ मतलब दे आर पीपल हु आर सर्टिफाइड career coaches, and people who are aspiring to do great in their career, you should definitely hire one, spend a bit of money into it, and stick around for 1 or 2 years with one coach, and then figure out another coach for doing so. So that is what I would suggest, कि invest in a personal coach who will guide you to help you unlock new levels. जैसे योगा होता है ना, योगा हम सबको आता है, बट योगा को कंसिस्टेंसी और उसमें महारत करने के लिए हमें एक योगा टीचर चाहिए होता है. या अगर मतलब क्रिकेट मुझे भी आता है, बट मैं सचिन तेंदुलकर नहीं बन सकता. क्यों नहीं बन सकता? क्योंकि मुझे कोचिंग चाहिए, मुझे जाके नेट प्रैक्टिस करनी है. तो इट विल क्रिएट योर डिसिप्लिन टू थिंक थ्रू योर pieces, and it will help you know your weaknesses.
Yes. So I guess more or less we are done with our questions, or the questions that at least I planned to ask you in the session, Q&A session. We'll keep it open because we have 5 more minutes. We'll just keep this open. Uh, if there are any questions, Amod, Praneeth, Satyavrata, hi Vikas.
Uh, Hi, Saurabh. Thank you for
I,
taking it. I absolutely love the clarity with regards to the learning that you have mentioned. I follow a very similar structure in my way of living as well. I think fantastically done. Your work with, I am absolutely in love with the brands, and I keep reading about how grown and what have they done during the journey. And you happen to work with two of my favorite brands. One is Lenskart and another one is MX. I work in a completely different industry. I work in food and beverage industry. Nothing to do with the brands or have any way for me to work in those organizations. But I just love the way that these brands have come up and what these guys stand for. So I like MX. I'm also building brands, and in my own industry, I create brands and then work and then grow those brands. Again, very cluttered space, but I would love to know a little bit about MX, the whole journey, because you were there inside and you worked with them for longer years. Uh, how did MX it was a cluttered industry for MX as well, where there every bank was giving credit cards and may have a lot of new features, this, that, blah, blah. But how did MX became that cult following is something if you can throw a little bit light on. I think I would love to know that part.
so uh, great perspective, Vikas. So one thing is, people, the brands which have, and maybe I have a myopic view, but what I would say is, and it's the same formula which companies use, whether it is Parle-G, whether it is Amul, whether it is Amex, whether it is Apple, whether it is a bit of Lenskart. Uh, Brands are not built in 1 year or 2 years. Okay, brands are built over decades and centuries. Okay, Amex is 100-year-old brand. Tata is 100-year-old brand. And one of the things is brands are not built on features as well. Okay, products are built on features, and products also don't win on features. So, for
Yeah.
example, my phone has 20,000 features and Apple has only 20 features, but a great product with limited features which work well will give you great outcomes. Okay, and same is with Amex. Amex will not be the best featured card, but it is the best serviced card. So one of the things which I've seen mostly common between all these three, four brands with Amex, Apple, and Tata Group is service is the most important thing, or the experience is the most important thing. When you go to a Taj hotel, or when you buy an Apple product, or when you go to Amex, the service levels are astonishing. Okay, they treat humans as humans, and they don't let you, like, one of the simple thing is they will not put you IVR के जंजाल में नहीं फंसाएंगे आपको.
Yeah.
Okay, and they will treat people as people, and they will respect you. They will, and there is a bit of premiumization also in it, and with premiumization your economics to drive better service also gets unlocked. And then doing it consistently over the years, very very consistently, which is the most boring thing, that you are selling the same product by again and again, again and again, again and again, again and again, and consistently giving you that experience. So people who have experience with Amex, they will show you stories, and they create stories as well, not knowingly but unknowingly, which are then they get viral. So there will be stories of Amex that a person has his birthday of his wife, and then Amex helped them open up a store, Harrod store in the night, and then it is a premiumization thing, but they went over and beyond to serve the customer. Same
Okay.
thing if you see Tata Group also has done. So when you go over and beyond to serve the customer, over and beyond as elements, they become brand. Generally, people think brand is a creative, brand is a logo, brand is that. That is the very basic aspect. मतलब whether किलो के हिसाब से brand बिकते हैं.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, doing it consistently over the years and humanizing the brand is the most important piece, and then focusing on it. मतलब, while there is a lot of clutter, Amex is not a bank. Okay, it is in the job of selling credit cards. In fact, Amex से Lehman Brothers भी निकला था 30 साल पहले, and then it got spun off, and you know what happened with Lehman Brothers. Amex से Ameriprise Enterprise भी निकला था, उन्होंने उसको spun off करके अलग कर दिया. उन्होंने कहा Amex का brand is all about payments solution, which could be credit cards and service. So we will keep this as this, and then rest can be ancillary things.
Fantastic.
So
Uh, the same clarity that I have received during the session, I would love to invite you and do a small talk, and probably I've seen your TalkMate IO, and I'll discuss with you if we can do it for my
for
team.
sure.
Fantastic.
Sure, Vikas. Happy to help you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vikas, for the question. And if you don't have any, I guess sharp 11:30 we are almost done with the questions. So just let us know, folks. If you have any questions, Saurabh is happy to take up. If not, we'll wrap this up.
Yeah. Guys, feel free to connect me over LinkedIn. And if you want to set up some time, I've shared the TopMate link in the chat. And would like to thank the Sparklehood team, Abhishek and Saurabh, and the full team. I know there's a big team behind it who is making this. Bringing, like, building a community is almost like doing a charity. Okay, it does not come easy. It takes a lot of hard work. I'm sure that, like, it's very difficult to even monetize it, but it's a big charity you're doing to all of us. Wishing you best of luck in your success in your career, and looking forward to helping you in this.
Thanks, Saurabh. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank
folks,
you.
for joining the session. Happy weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.